Have you ever felt like there was something deep inside you desperately trying to speak, but you just couldn't find the words? Like your soul was holding its breath, waiting for you to finally say that one thing you've been avoiding for years, maybe even decades. Carl Jung, one of history's most profound psychologists, believed that our souls literally wait for us to speak certain truths into existence. And today, we're going to dive deep into what might be the most important sentence you'll ever utter in your entire life. Picture this. You're lying in bed at 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, and that familiar feeling creeps in. You know the one. It's that nagging sensation that you're not living authentically, that you're wearing a mask, that there's a version of yourself trapped inside, banging on the walls of your chest, screaming to be let out. Jung called this your true self, your authentic soul, and he believed it's been patiently waiting, sometimes for an entire lifetime, for you to speak one specific sentence that will set everything free. But here's the thing that'll blow your mind. Most people never find that sentence. They live their whole lives dancing around it, coming close to it, feeling it on the tip of their tongue, but never actually saying it out loud. And Jung believed this is why so many people feel empty, lost, or like they're living someone else's life. So what is this mysterious sentence your soul is waiting for? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because it's different for every single person watching this video. For some, it might be, I don't love you anymore. For others, it could be, I forgive myself. Maybe it's, I'm not happy, or I'm scared, or I need help, or even, I love you. The specific words aren't what matters most. What matters is that it's your truth, the one truth you've been running from, the one that would change everything if you finally had the courage to say it. Jung spent his entire career studying the human psyche, and he discovered something fascinating about how we hide from ourselves. He called it the shadow, that part of ourselves we don't want to acknowledge, the parts we've pushed down into the darkness of our unconscious minds. But here's what's incredible. Jung believed that our souls, our deepest, truest selves, are constantly working to bring these hidden parts into the light. They're trying to make us whole, authentic, real. And sometimes, all it takes is one sentence, spoken with complete honesty, to start that transformation. Think about the most pivotal moments in your life. I bet if you really examine them, they probably came after someone, maybe even you, spoke a truth that had been buried for a long time. Maybe it was a parent finally admitting they were wrong, or a friend confessing they'd been struggling with depression, or that moment when you finally told someone exactly how you felt about them. These moments don't just change situations, they change souls. But why do we wait so long? Why does the soul have to wait decades sometimes? Jung believed it's because we're terrified of what will happen if we speak our truth. We're afraid of rejection, of judgment, of losing the life we've built, even if that life isn't making us happy. We're afraid that if we say what we really think and feel, everything will fall apart. And you know what? Sometimes it does. But Jung argued that things need to fall apart sometimes for us to build something real and authentic in their place. Here's something that might surprise you. Jung believed that not speaking your truth doesn't just hurt you. It hurts everyone around you. When you're not living authentically, when you're holding back that one sentence your soul needs to speak, you're not fully present in your relationships. You're not giving people the real you. You're giving them a performance, a character you think they want to see. And deep down, people can sense this inauthenticity, even if they can't put their finger on what's wrong. I want you to think about someone in your life right now who seems completely authentic, someone who just feels real when you're around them. Notice how being around them makes you feel. There's something magnetic about authentic people, something that draws us in and makes us want to be more honest ourselves. That's the power of someone who has found their sentence, who has stopped hiding from their soul's truth. But let's get practical here. How do you figure out what your sentence is? Jung suggested paying attention to what you avoid thinking about, what topics make you uncomfortable, what conversations you steer away from. He believed our souls leave us clues all the time. Maybe it's that relationship you know isn't working, but you're too scared to address. Maybe it's that career change you've been dreaming about, but convincing yourself is impossible. Maybe it's that apology you need to make, or that boundary you need to set, or that dream you need to admit you still have. Another clue Jung talked about is our emotions. What makes you disproportionately angry? What brings up shame? What do you get defensive about? These emotional reactions are often pointing toward the very truths we're trying to avoid. Your soul is trying to get your attention, trying to show you where you're not being honest with yourself. Here's something that might make you uncomfortable. Jung believed that the sentence your soul is waiting for is probably the one you least want to say. It's probably the one that scares you the most, the one that would require the most courage, the one that would change the most about your life. That's not a coincidence. Our souls aren't interested in keeping us comfortable. They're interested in keeping us real. But let's talk about what happens when you finally speak that sentence. Jung called it individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are, separate from all the expectations and roles and masks you've been wearing. It's not always pretty. In fact, it's often messy and painful and complicated. But Jung believed it's the only path to real fulfillment, to genuine happiness, to authentic connection with others. Sometimes speaking your truth means losing people who were only in your life because they loved the mask you were wearing, not the real you underneath. Sometimes it means leaving situations that felt safe but weren't making you grow. Sometimes it means admitting you've been wrong about something important, or that you've been lying to yourself, or that you need to make a major change in your life. But here's what Jung discovered. On the other side of that sentence, on the other side of that truth, there's freedom. There's the possibility of real love, real friendship, real work that matters to you, a real life that feels like it belongs to you instead of someone else. And here's something beautiful. Jung believed that when you finally speak your truth, you give others permission to speak theirs. Authenticity is contagious. When you stop pretending and start being real, the people around you feel safer to do the same. You might just be the person who helps someone else find the sentence their soul has been waiting for. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. What if speaking your truth hurts people? What if it disappoints them or makes them angry or changes everything? Jung acknowledged this dilemma, but he believed that living a lie ultimately hurts people more than speaking the truth. When you're not being authentic, you're depriving the people who love you of the chance to love the real you. You're building relationships on false foundations that will eventually crumble anyway. But timing matters. Wisdom matters. Jung wasn't advocating for blurting out every thought and feeling without consideration for consequences. He was talking about the deep soul-level truths that shape who you are and how you show up in the world. These are the sentences that require courage, yes, but also wisdom about when and how to speak them. Let me share something that might help you identify your sentence. Jung noticed that people often dream about the very things they're avoiding in waking life. Your unconscious mind, your soul, is constantly trying to communicate with you through dreams, through slips of the tongue, through the stories that capture your imagination. Pay attention to what themes keep showing up in your inner life. Those are breadcrumbs leading you toward your truth. Also, notice what you admire most in other people. Jung believed we're often drawn to qualities in others that we want to develop in ourselves. If you find yourself repeatedly drawn to people who are incredibly honest, or brave, or creative, or independent, your soul might be trying to tell you something about who you're meant to become. Here's another angle. Think about what you would say if you knew you were going to die tomorrow. Not the practical stuff, but the emotional truths, the things you'd want people to know, the feelings you'd want to express, the authentic self you'd want to reveal. Jung believed that confronting our mortality, even in imagination, can help us cut through all the noise and get to what really matters. But let's be honest about the resistance you're probably feeling right now. Part of you is probably already thinking of reasons why this doesn't apply to you, why your situation is different, why speaking your truth would be too risky or too selfish or too complicated. Jung would say that resistance is actually a sign you're getting close to something important. The stronger the resistance, the closer you might be to the sentence your soul is waiting for. And here's something Jung observed. The longer you wait to speak your truth, the more energy it takes to keep it buried. You might notice you're feeling more tired, more disconnected, more irritable. That's your life force being drained by the effort of maintaining a false self. Speaking your truth doesn't just free your soul. It frees up all that energy you've been using to hide. So what's next? How you move from understanding this concept to actually finding and speaking your sentence. Jung suggested starting with small truths and working your way up to the big ones. Practice saying what you really think about small things, how you really feel in minor situations. Build your authenticity muscles with low-stakes truth-telling before you tackle the life-changing revelations. Also, consider finding a safe space to explore these ideas, maybe with a therapist, a trusted friend, or even through journaling. Sometimes we need to speak our truths out loud in a safe environment before we're ready to share them more widely. Jung was a big believer in the power of speaking things into existence, of making the unconscious conscious through language. Remember, your soul has been waiting patiently, sometimes for decades, for you to speak this one sentence. It's not going anywhere. It's not getting impatient or giving up on you. But Jung believed that the longer you wait, the more your authentic self gets buried under layers of should be and supposed to and what will people think. The sentence your soul is waiting for isn't just words. It's a key. It's the key to unlocking the person you were meant to be, to living the life you were meant to live, to connecting with people in the way you were meant to connect. Jung spent his entire career helping people find these keys, and he discovered that on the other side of our deepest truths lies our deepest fulfillment. Your soul knows what it needs to say. Somewhere inside you, that sentence is already formed, already waiting. The question isn't whether you have this truth inside you. The question is whether you'll find the courage to speak it. And Jung believed that when you finally do, when you finally give your soul the words it's been waiting for, everything changes. Not just for you, but for everyone whose life you touch. So here's my challenge for you. Listen. Really listen to what your soul has been trying to tell you. Pay attention to what you avoid, what scares you, what would change everything if you said it out loud. Your soul has been patient, but it's also been persistent. It's time to finally give it the voice it's been waiting for, the sentence that will set you free,